The Lord be with you. And with your spirit. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. When the Pharisees heard that Jesus had silenced the Sadducees, they gathered together. And one of them, a scholar of the law, tested him by asking, "Teacher, which commandment in the law is the greatest?" He said to him, "You shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, and with all of your mind. This is the greatest and the first commandment. The second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. The whole law and the prophets depend on these two commandments." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Do you wake up in the morning and thank God for creating you? For giving you life? For sustaining every breath that you take? I was at my niece's confirmation, and the bishop there, one of the lines in his homily was, "The fundamental attitude is gratitude." The fundamental attitude is gratitude. Why? When every day we say thank you to God, it's like we're telling him, "I love you too. I love you too." That means, right, that we were loved first. And every time that we say thank you for being created, for each breath, we're learning the reason that we were created, the why that we are here. It's because of God's love for us. It's because He loved us first. So we have a duty. All the love that we receive is meant to be given back in one way or another. I know that when I receive a gift, and I'm not a gift giver, I'm not that type of person. I told my children as they were growing up, I said, I don't give gifts, I give presents. My way of, I guess, expressing my love is to be present, is to do something, for someone. Help them with something. Spend time together with them. Listen and hear what they have to say. That's my way. So I don't give gifts, I don't shop at a store or things like that. I never learned that really growing up. That wasn't like a big part of how I was formed. I guess because it was 10 of us, so maybe it was kind of difficult to give a lot of gifts. Anyway, so whenever someone brings me a gift or gives me a gift, I feel like I have to give something back. Hey, they gave me something, it's right to give back, to do something in return maybe. And isn't that really like reciprocating for love? You're giving back. You were loved. You love back in some way, whatever that is. And that's the way our Father is. He can't help but love us. Because that's what He is. That's who He is. Love. Everything He does is love. Even when He may have to teach us a lesson, it's because He loves us. He wants us to be eternally happy forever. And because He knows how He made us, He knows what graces that we need. When we go to him and say thank you, put our relationship right, that I need you, Lord, he tells us what he wants. Right? He says, if you love me, it's a choice. If you love me, if you want to love me, then obey me. Do my will. That sounds right? He knows everything. He's perfect. He knows how to love. He knows what we need to do. So he tells us. And what does he tell us? What's his will? Well, Jesus says it. He only asked what was the greatest commandment, the lawyer. But Jesus tells us what the second commandment is. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. So, because we think about ourselves a lot, because we're around ourselves a lot, right? It just comes naturally. We think about what's going on inside, how I feel, what I think, how I see this, how I see that. It just happens, right? We're tempted to put ourselves and our own thoughts and our own ideas and our own will before God's will, for our Father's will. He knows that. So he gives us a way to make things right. Take what you think about yourself. See how you love yourself. See the good things that you do for yourself. Know yourself. And do that to other people. Do unto them as you would want to be done to you. Because now you'll be treating them for real love. So when you're given that opportunity, it comes a lot. Every single day is an opportunity. Everybody has a family. Even if you live on your own or alone, you go out into the world. You can always rise in the morning and thank God for the life you were given, the chance that you have today. You can think about the other. So even if someone offends you or hurts you or says something that you don't agree with or you don't like, let that stuff go. Take a minute. Remember what God's asking us to do. Because this is what's going to straighten the world out. When we do this for each other. Take a minute. Take some time. Care for the other person the way you would want to be cared about. You don't know where this thing that offends you or hurts you is coming from. Who knows? It's the life, the childhood that person had growing up. Maybe it wasn't that great. Who knows the things that they're dealing with at that moment? So it's important for us to not to take offense to it, to think about ourselves once again. Deny ourselves. Look into the other person. Whatever it is that you can do to love that person the way you would want to be loved. But something, the last sentence here of this gospel says, the whole law and the prophets depend on these two commandments. The whole law and the prophets. Everything depends on those two. And why? Well, it makes a lot of sense. Look back to how things went wrong. Right? Go back. In Genesis, Adam and Eve revolted against what God asked them to do. They didn't obey him. They revolted against him. This is where the first commandment, so that was the first offense. And the first commandment is to love the Lord your God fully, all the way, with everything. That's what they didn't do. So following that commandment is a remedy for what our first parents did. Okay? And that just is a reflection of our nature. And we spend a lot of time with ourselves. We think, what's that saying? We're the bomb. Right? So we get a little confused sometimes. So that remedies the first offense, that first commandment. Then Jesus comes out with the second one. Okay? What is that remedy? Go back again to the beginning. What happened? Man, because of sin, became at war with man. Where did that first happen? Cain and Abel. Right? Cain kills Abel, his brother. So when we love our neighbor, it's remedying that war that man has against man. So it changes things. Those two commandments will save our families. Make them a priority in your life. Because when we take the time to save our families by following these two commandments, naturally in turn, society will be saved. Because the family is the basis of society.